are committed to trying to bring you all kinds of art to show your kids. I wanted to share with you one of the things we like to do here at our camps and classes, and that's turn kids on to new artists. So whether or not you've heard of George Rodrigue or not, he is fantastic. His main character is a blue dog, which the kids really respond to. You can see a lot of his work here. He's a Louisiana artist, recently passed, but has been alive while I've been teaching art. So that's kind of cool too, to introduce kids to living, breathing artists who are working here in our country. So you can see here on his website, a lot of his work is inspired by Louisiana and the Bayou, and then this adorable dog goes through. His website is super easy to navigate. Encourage your kids to jump on here and look at his exhibits, maybe even check out where you could see him in the future in case you're able to travel sometime soon. And then he also is great because he supports education. Or his foundation does now. So you could go to his other website, the George Rodrigue Foundation, and check out there. What's really cool there, and what I've used before in some of my classes, are his arts, where'd it go? There we go, classroom resources. So when you're in here, you can see that there are coloring sheets you can print out, a mask you can make, the worksheet, and a coloring sheet, which will show you this. There's some slideshows, which I've shown some of these in my classes before too. So feel free to, peruse around, get your kids excited, and then we're going to teach a live lesson on how to paint your very own blue dog. So stay tuned for that. You could obviously do this with your own supplies, but we'll have a kit available for you guys to do this too. But wanted to encourage you to have this resource at your fingertips so that you can share it with your kiddos while they're home. Thanks so much for tuning in.
Hey y'all, so now what we're going to do before we start is go ahead and talk about all the things that are in the kit that y'all got. We have 6 colors here. We have a white, a blue, a black, a yellow with some white in it, a more turquoise blue, and some red, pink, and white. The colors we're mainly going to be using for our dog are going to be the darker blue, the black, and the white, and we're going to learn all about tints and shades today. And the cool thing about those is you can make things lighter by adding white and make things darker by adding black. So that's how you create shadows and highlights in your paintings. You're also going to have a couple of brushes included in your kit, as well as a pre-traced outline of our blue dog. So after you have everything all set up, remember that acrylic does stain, so the paint we're using does stain, so make sure to use a protective covering over your surface, and then wear clothes you don't care about, your PJs if you want. So we're going to get started. We're going to start by drawing our blue dog's face. So I'm going to go ahead and draw 2 lines down the middle of my dog's face, right in between his ears, just like that. And then we're going to flare that out to make his muzzle, just like that. It's kind of like a heart shape. See how it's like an upside down heart? Just like that. And then we're going to add his lip. And now he's got a nose right there, which is kind of like a triangle, or you can make it a circle if you wish. This one's a little bit more of a circle. And then we're also going to draw his eyes. His eyes are pretty funny, and those are just going to be 2 circles. They're very round eyes on the blue dog. And you want them to go on either side. And it's okay if you mess up with your pencil. You don't even have to erase, because we'll just paint over it later if you don't like it. You want to make your eyes roughly the same size, but it's okay if they're a little different because blue dog is a little quirky. Awesome. So we've got our blue dog's eyes, his nose, his muzzle, and his little white stripe all finished up. I'm also going to draw in where his head will be. And all you want to do is take the line from his ear and extend it to his muzzle, and do the same thing on the other side. Just like that. Awesome. And now we're going to draw the inside of his ears. And those are just going to be 2 little triangles inside of his ears. Just like that. And then our last step is to draw in his legs. His back legs are covered by his front legs. You can see it on here. See how these legs are darker, meaning they're behind in a shadow. And these legs, his front legs, are brighter in the same color. So we're going to go ahead and draw, and all we're going to do is connect this line right here to this line right here. So just like that. And now his leg is behind his leg. And then the same thing on this side. We're going to connect this line to this line like that. And now he is all set and ready to be painted. Hey y'all, so now that we've drawn in our blue dog, it's time for our background. You can go ahead and pause this video at any time and just take out your pencil that we used to draw in his face and draw in whatever pattern or landscape you want for his background. I took my inspiration from this painting here, but you can take your inspiration from any painting you see on George Rodriguez's website or your own imagination. So just go ahead and pause this video and draw in your background. Okay guys, now that you've drawn in your background and we've finished with our pencil, we can put that aside. And now I'm going to go in and start painting my background. And you'll see in your kit that you have the primary colors. You have a red and pink, a blue and a yellow, along with our colors that we're going to use for our blue dog. And I don't really want to mix those up while I'm painting my background, so I'm going to go ahead and take my palette. And I really want to use the purple that he used in this painting because it's my favorite. So I'm just going to mix a little bit of purple in this palette. And all you're going to do is take a scoop of pink or red, your choice, and put it in an empty little pod. And I'm also going to take some blue on my brush and give that a mix. And then look at that. We've got purple. So you can make any of the secondary colors with the colors we gave you in this kit. You can make orange by mixing red and yellow, or you can make green by mixing blue and yellow, or you can make purple by mixing blue and red, or pink in this case. And now all you want to do, once you've put your colors that you want to use in your palette, you can go ahead and paint in your background. And then I'm just going to go ahead and speed up to when I'm done with my background. So go ahead and pause this video and finish painting your background. Hey y'all, so at this point I have finished my background, as you probably have too. And I actually let mine dry for a little bit just so I'm not going to mix my blue dog with my background at all. So if your background's a little wet, go ahead and pause this video for another 10 or so minutes, just so your background doesn't interfere with your blue dog. To start, we're going to go ahead and paint his muzzle, which is this white part right here that we drew on earlier with our pencil. So we're just going to go ahead and stick a medium-sized brush in our white paint, and then go ahead and paint in that space. And I know we're painting white on top of white, and it seems kind of silly, but this is going to keep our white clean and not mixed with other colors. Starting with white is also great because if you get it on anything else, we're just going to paint right over it, so it's no big deal. So go ahead and paint all that in. Awesome, and I'm being real loose with my painting. I accidentally painted over his nose. That's okay, we're gonna go back in and paint over that anyway. Sweet, so now his muzzle is all painted. And then we're gonna go in and start on the body. So I'm not even gonna wash my brush, I'm just gonna keep the white extra on there. And I'm gonna go ahead and dip my paintbrush in the darker blue color and start painting his body. And so you'll notice that the white on your brush is going to start to mix with your blue and make it real light. There's no rules on what kind of blue your blue dog needs to be. If you want it to be a little bit darker though, or a little bit more turquoise like the blue dog in the book and on the website and our sample here, all you're going to do is dip your brush in the other blue that we provided and add some of that in as well. And we're just painting kind of a base color for our body. So go ahead and paint his whole body blue. We're gonna paint his body here, his head blue, and his feet blue. And go ahead and just pause this video and paint his ears, his body, his whole face, but just try and paint around his eyes and his muzzle. All right, y'all, so at this point we have painted our blue dog all blue, and now all there's left to do is do some shading. And so you can notice on this blue dog example, you can see how there are some darker, like shadowy parts of the dog that are darker because they're covered by shadow or fur or just behind the dog himself. And there's also some highlights on his cheeks and around his eyes and on his ears and his belly. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna add that using black to make the shades, the shadows, and white to make the tints. We're gonna start with doing the shades. So just remember to only take a teeny tiny bit of black when you're using it, because it is so strong and powerful. So you want to use a lot of blue and a little bit of black, like a teeny tiny bit. Like you can't even see it on my brush. There's so little on there. Dip, dip, dip. Awesome. So now I've got kind of a darker navy blue, and you can mix them on your canvas or you can mix them in your palette. It's up to you. So I've got a nice dark blue here, and I'm going to go ahead and paint in those feet that are behind my blue dog. Just like this. See how that's nice and dark? Awesome. And now I'm going to go back in and paint this foot. And if you need to go grab a smaller brush, go for it. I'm just working with a medium-sized one, but I'll probably switch to a smaller one in a second because I'm going outside my lines. But sweet. Okay, now we have to do the inside of his ears, which are also pretty dark. They're about the same color as his feet that are behind him. So I'm going to go ahead and add in his ears. And instead of drawing that triangle shape that we started with, I'm going to go ahead and put the darker color on in dabbing motions like this to create the illusion of fur on our dog. So you can see I'm almost tapping the paint on, and that just gives it kind of a fuzzy look. I'm gonna go ahead and add some more blue on the middle of it just to give it some texture. Just like that. Awesome. And now we're gonna go back in and add some more on the other side. He also has some really dark eyebrows going on, so we're gonna go ahead and add in those eyebrows since we're working pretty close to there right now. I'm gonna go ahead and add some blue to the middle of this one too. Just blend that out a little bit more. Awesome, so he's got some pretty dark eyebrows going on, so I'm gonna go ahead and switch to a smaller brush real fast. And then just grab that dark blue that we mixed. If you need to mix more while we're going, just pause this video and mix up some more dark blue. But I'm gonna go ahead and add some eyebrows. Dogs are very expressive, especially ones with eyebrows. So we're gonna add in some eyebrows there. His eyebrows are a little bit different, but I think that's kind of fun. Awesome. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna paint in his cheeks. He's got some really fuzzy, furry cheeks. And all we're gonna do to make those cheeks continue to look furry is we're gonna take our brush and do a little flick with our wrist and make some fuzzies. And we're gonna go over our background color. That's why it's kind of important for it to be dry before you start. Just like that. You can see how that kind of looks a little bit more fuzzy and friendly. And I'm just gonna go up and do some fuzzies on his ears too, because my puppies have fuzzy ears, and so do George Rodriguez. I'm gonna go in and some more fluff, because I love the fluffy dogs. Okay, sweet. So now I'm just gonna do that on the other side real fast, and I'm also gonna add some fur on his chest and on his body on the outsides too, just to give him a little bit of dimension on the sides as well. Fuzzy cheeks. Fuzzy cheeks. Awesome. I think that looks pretty good. I'm also gonna add some fuzz on his head, right in between his ears. I'm gonna make this fuzz a little bit crazy. So I'm gonna add some dark blue and some black and some regular blue in there again because I ran out of paint. And then we're gonna just go ahead and add some more fuzz. Just so he's nice and textured, just like a real dog. Awesome. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna also outline underneath his chin because that would be covered by a shadow. And I'm gonna add some shadows around his feet, just around the bottoms of it. I'm just gonna outline that bottom foot just like that. And add some more fuzz to the outside. And you can go as crazy with the fuzz as you want. It's totally up to you. I'm gonna probably stop mine about here so we can move on to the next part, which is his nose. So I'm gonna go in with a lot of black on my brush just like that and plop that right in the middle of our muzzle. Cooper is hanging out with us today, so we've got a real life model of how to make a dog very, very fluffy. Cooper, good boy. Awesome. Sweet. So I'm just dabbing on that black there in a little kind of rectangle shape. So he's got a big wide nose, nice and cute like Cooper's. And then he also has a little smile going on. So I'm just gonna draw that in with the side of my brush. Just like that. Cute! And now what we're gonna do is, you can see that he has some gray shading above his nose to show that it kind of comes farther back. George Rodriguez has that a little bit on his. He also has some white nostrils on his dog sometimes. So it's up to you if you want to add some white nostrils on your doggies. I'm going to go ahead and grab some white on my palette. And then I'm gonna grab a teeny tiny bit of black, just like the smallest bit, because again, it goes a really long way. And then give that a mix. So see how dark that made that? And I barely had any on my brush. I'm gonna go ahead and add some shading on his nose. And then I'm gonna go back in with some more of that dark blue and just fix his nose a little bit because I took a little bit of it away with his nose. Cute. Awesome. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna add the highlights on his face. So he has a lot of highlight on his cheeks and around his eyes. And all we're gonna do to do that is take some blue and then add a big scoop full of white and give that a mix. So that's a little bit too gray for my liking, so I'm gonna add a lot of blue to brighten it up a little bit, and that looks a little bit better. Maybe even a little darker. That's pretty. Maybe add a little bit more blue. It just takes time to find a color that you like, so take your time. You're welcome to pause this video at any point and just paint and mix colors. It's up to you. Alright, so now I'm gonna do some highlights around his eyes and underneath his eyebrows. I'm also gonna do some highlights on the center of his chest. And you can see how those lines look really harsh on top of the blue background we did. So all I'm gonna do is take my brush without washing it and dip it back in the blue color that we used for his whole body and blend that in. So it looks a little bit less harsh. And then we can add more in because it's much easier to mix your paints when they're wet. So I let mine dry quite a bit in between, but you can leave your body pretty wet while you're painting and then it'll blend a lot easier. Cooper's face. So happy, so happy. He also has highlights on top of his ears. So I'm gonna add some highlights right up here. I'm even gonna go in with some plain white as well and just add that in. And you can see how bright that looks. But it's okay, we're gonna blend it in. Sweet, now I'm gonna take some more blue and just blend that out because it got a little bit too harsh for my liking. Just like that. And if you find you have too much paint on your brush, you can just wipe it off. It's no biggie. And just keep on blending. Cute. He looks better already. Awesome. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go in and start on his eyes. And what we're gonna do for that is we're gonna use the yellow. George Rodriguez, his dogs have striking yellow eyes. And that's what makes his painting so noticeable, honestly, in my opinion. It's those bright yellow eyes. They're really, really cool. So all we're gonna do is, if your circles got covered up at all, you wanna go ahead and pause this video and paint white over top of your circles and let that dry. Otherwise, if you're ready to rock and roll, we're just gonna go ahead and dip a brush in some yellow. And also in the white, you can go ahead and mix them in the center. And I'm just gonna go ahead and paint on those circles. Just like that. And you can make your eyes a little bit bigger if you like. I like mine this size. Awesome. Perfect. Cool, those look great to me. So while your eyes are drying, I'm gonna go in and do the eyeliner that the dog has around his eyes with my really, really tiny brush. All you want to do is take a teeny tiny bit of black on the very tip of your brush, just like that. And we're going to outline the outside of his eye with that black. Real careful, and then be sure to stop and get some more paint on the tip every once in a while, because when it starts to run out, it starts to go on not as smooth. And big line around his eyes. And it's okay if you pick up a little bit of the yellow. You can just dab some more black over top of it. It'll cover it right up. Awesome. Cute. And so he has some funny lines around his eyes. You can see that on our sample, we've got 3 lines on all sides of our eye. So I'm going to do 1 line right here, 1 line right here, and 1 line right here. But you can put yours wherever you like, and you can do multiple if you want to. You can leave the lines out if you like, or you can add in your own. It's totally up to you. I'm gonna add some more eyebrow because it's fun. Some more in my ears before we go to the other side. Teehee. Okay, awesome. Now let's go over here, and we're gonna do our line again around our eye. Awesome. And it's okay to be patient with yourself when you're doing this step, because it's a lot of being really steady with your paintbrush. So it's okay if you need to take a break and come back to it. You got all the time in the world. Awesome. So then there is another eye line. I'm going to do my dashes along the sides again. Just like that, and I'm gonna add more black in the eyebrow, just like I did on the other side, and more black in the ear, and on the tips there. Sweet. And so now all we need to do is add that little black dot in the very center of his eye. My eyes need a little bit to dry, so you can let yours dry a little bit if you need to. But all you're gonna do when your eyes are dry is add a little black dot right in the middle. So you can take your smallest brush and put a lot of paint on the end, and then just tap it in the center, just like that. And we'll do the other side. Tap, just like that. They're kind of goofy looking. I like it. Perfect. Good job, you guys. I can't wait to see your blue dogs online. If you want to go ahead and tag the Art Garage in your paintings so I can see your art, that would be fantastic. And yeah, just keep on creating and stay safe.